Well, it's a special pleasure to be here today. It's wonderful to be in the warm embrace of this community. When people ask me about my own personal faith, I say I'm a Taoist Presbyterian, so I'm pretty consistent with the values that this group has right here. So the first thing is I want to share what our program is about. And our program supports youth from the experience of foster care, mostly in their teenage years, because that's when it has the most negative impact on them. But beyond that, we've begun to embrace youth who have similar situations, analogous situations, such as they were in kinship care, or they were displaced from their families in some other way, or experienced homelessness. So there's a little complexity in our program beyond what some people think. I want to say it's especially a treasure to be here too, because a lot of our students are at a point in their faith journeys where they're rejecting doctrinary approaches to their religion and their faith, and they need to use that cognitive muscle to think about what they want to do and how they want to bring their values in. When I was originally invited to this, I connected with a student who was excited about being here. She is, can we see our slides? Yep. She is going to be the third one on the left. We have our picture with the glasses. And she was so excited about, she's a person of faith, but has never never good experience with doctrinary churches. So she was super excited about being here. I wish that we were having an interview with her rather than me speaking. I'll try to do my best to tell a couple good stories. But at the same point, it would have been better if she was here, but she had a family emergency. That's one of the things that people don't realize about youth from care, that they do have families. We may have a romanticized idea that all of them have both their parents died when they were 2 years old and they lived on their own or were in foster homes. There's the complexity of every situation that happens with our youth. They come from families that struggle, like we all struggle, and they may still have good relationships with their foster parents and definitely their grandparents. Definitely their grandparents, because grandparents are the heroes of our world, to be honest with you. Last thing I want to say is that we're grateful to be here just because we get an opportunity to share the beauty of our story with you. Not just the sadness of our story, because it's not a sad story at all. It's the beauty of our story. Next slide, please. So I've taught our first year experience course, and we have our students bring in quotes that are inspirational to them. One day, 2 students brought in the same quote. It's incredibly powerful when you look about what the impact that this program has on people is like, because we don't know and we don't have control for what has happened to us, especially when we're children. But we have an opportunity to move forward. But what gets that done? What gets us moving beyond our current paradigm? So what we've understood is that support does that. We have to have the right supports. So how many of you made it through college or other challenges in life all on your own? All on your own without any support? Okay. We have this myth of rugged individualism, especially in American society. Nobody makes it on their own. But you understand why youth from the experience of foster care might think that they have to because they haven't had reliable or trustworthy people. So that makes sense of why they begin to feel that way. And we try to provide the supports that you can use to thrive in our community. So next slide, please. What do we do? What do we provide? How do we get there? So first of all, we provide money, scholarship support, which is crucial. As you know now, institutions like the government pay less and less for college, even at a state school, and individuals are put with more responsibility to pay for that themselves. So it's important to have scholarships that support our youth. Secondly, individualized coaching. As Pat introduced me, I'm a senior campus coach. It means I work with students individually. I have, at this current moment, 18 assigned students that I meet with weekly, and we go over skill building and awareness building and knowledge building throughout their college experience. I've been blessed to be able to see 50 students of mine that I worked with graduate over the time I've been there. What a pleasure and treat to be in a job that means so much. So I'm grateful to be in that job. So don't give me much admiration. I get to have the gift of going to work every day and working with these students. Third aspect is a community of scholars. So the students aren't alone there. They're with people who have had similar experiences as them. Right now we have about 90 students. We bring in about 18 to 20 students every year. It's the largest program in the state of Michigan, and one of the largest in the country. The second one in the state of Michigan. And we have an impact all over the country because we teach our coaching model to other programs all across the country. Next slide, please. So I said money. So we're going to look at what they receive in money. A lot of people think that youth from foster care get a free ride. We're Broncos at Western, but nobody gets a free ride. If you know Broncos, they don't give you a free ride. they're going to buck you. But so our scholarship in and of itself is about 40% of the cost of attendance. That's what we determined, that with other scholarships available to youth from care, that will get them through and give them a chance to not graduate with debt. Give them a chance. Everything falls in place. So on average, it takes between 5 to 10 different scholarships, loans, or grants to get our students paid for a semester. So it's a complex operation to coordinate all that financial aid and make sure that they get that. So it's an important aspect that we support them financially. Third part, this is I'm very proud of, is over 50% of our students graduate without student loan debt. We know how disabling student loan debt can be, and so it's a real accomplishment. We're hoping to get that number higher and higher. Next slide. So when we're working with students, how do we coach them? Well, we coach them through a holistic program. So this is developed. Have any of you listened to NPR? Any of you ever listened? I'm sure you have. This church, I'm getting a good guess. A lot of you listen to NPR. Well, you ever hear this program was sponsored by the Annie E. Casey Foundation? Okay, the Annie E. Casey Foundation does research into youth who've experienced foster care. This model is developed from the Annie E. Casey's Foundation of what youth from care need to experience and go through and develop skills in to be successful. So we developed this for a college environment, and so this is how we work with our students, to look at all aspects of their lives, because they're a student and that's education at the center, but that's not all who they are. I mean, there's no aspect of any of us that is just one thing. You may be an employee, but you're also a grandfather, a grandmother, a sister, a brother, a member of the community, a member of the church, all these things. So we look at that and look at their holistic identity when we're coaching. Before we move on, I want to just tell a little story, because that's more interesting than me just talking about things. So this week I had a student come in, and this student has a very low academic skill level. What we might think of as a low academic skill level in terms of their previous achievement, things like that. But his key thing is he's never asked for help in his life. And he tries to figure out everything on his own, so he gets it done, but he does it the hard way. And it means his test scores, his grades aren't as good as they could be because he tries to do it on his own. So he came into me because he couldn't figure out how to connect to an app that he had to register his attendance on at school. And of course, he placed his faith in the technological prowess of a 62-year-old man. And fortunately, in this case, I was able to help him through it. And what we did is ask him questions and helped him explore it, help him go in a linear way through this. And so I asked him, I said, how did you get this figured out? And he said, well, you just did it. And I said, no, how did you get this figured out? And I said, I asked for help. I said, well, that's a good thing to know, right? That's a good skill that you have, because that got you a little ways. So 2 days later, he comes in and he says, hey, I need a tutor for this class. What can we do? And so we walked through it again, what he needed and why he was struggling with this. And I said, hey, it seems like some of this information is out there and it's difficult for you to consume. And what's going on with that? And he said, well, I had an IEP, which is an individualized education plan in high school, and I really struggled with ADHD. So I said to him, hey, you want to do something about that? And he said, yeah, maybe I need some support. So right now, this Monday, he's going to counseling, and he's going to our health center to get the support of a doctor and the support of a psychologist to help him work through these things. So these things happen in small moments that might be about, hey, I can't access the class, but it might be about something bigger, and that's a pretty standard coaching. It's not about me. All we do is very simple things. We listen, we praise students for their strengths, and we give them the choices that they need to make. And that's all we do. It's really all we do, and we help them get there. So moving on to the next slide. Our students get to have wonderful opportunities. The slides on the left show our experience in Dominican Republic. We've gone to a study abroad with just our students 3 years in a row, and we have 2 years more planned, and after that, hopefully even more. We've had 35 students take advantage of that program at no cost to them. We're able to figure out the financial aid. Because of donors, we were able to cover their costs so that they can have that experience. Because youth from care often don't have the money to even consider going study abroad. What we found is our students then become study abroad addicts. They realize there's money out there and that they can go to India, or they can go to Germany, or they can go to the Netherlands, or they can go to Sri Lanka, and they start to do that regularly. And then some other pictures here, obviously in the middle is a great moment we have is seeing with our students at graduation. We get dressed up in our academic regalia, and we sit there and watch them go across the stage, and it's quite the expressive moment. And on the right top, you see a group of our students celebrating Iftar. We have a number of students that are Muslim background. About a third of our students are unaccompanied refugee minors. But we invite everyone into the Iftars. On the bottom is a Halloween arts and crafts event, but just an indication of some of the community activities that we do. We can go to the next slide, please. So as I spoke to a couple of people going in, I can't help but be proud of the fact that we've had 260 graduates since the start of our program in 2008. Approximately 2 to 10% of youth from foster care graduate from college, and you're wondering, you're statistical, you're analytical, and you say, why is it 2 to 10%? That's quite the range. Well, because with youth from foster care, we don't even have the data complete, because it's hard to track students who have been in foster care. It's very difficult to figure out who has been in foster care, under what conditions, and what they do with their lives. So that's part of the chaos that's involved with that. So 2 to 10% of youth from foster care graduate. Our graduation rate is slightly above 50%, which sounds maybe not the best, but Western's graduation rate is about 56%. So we're almost right there. Last year, Western's retention rate from first year to second year was 82%. Our retention rate first year to second year was 92%. So we really exceeded that. For the first time ever, we exceeded what the university is doing. So we're so proud of our students, and we get the blessing of being able to be there for our students when they graduate. So the last slide is the one that you're thinking about right now, which is how can you help? So the picture there on the left is a picture of, there was a church that donated gift cards to our students. So at the holidays, after the end of finals, every student got a gift card. And it was in a box. And gift cards are incredibly valuable because it gives the ability to students to spend money on things they would like to spend on, food, gas, household items, things like that. So that's a big thing that our students can do, because we can't buy gift cards for our students because it gets involved with financial aid. But you can buy them and we can pass them on. The center picture shows generosity in kind. This is a person who knits, and they come in and they share all the things they knit with their group, with our students. Marsha Leah, a member of your congregation, has done some quilts for us. We've had Kalamazoo Log Cabin Quilters, they've done quilts for us. There's a lot of groups that provide support for us in that way. So the lower right corner is a student with a welcome pack. At the beginning of every year, we provide students with basic survival items that every college student needs, but they may not get otherwise. On the top, we provide students with experiences that, like I said, with the study abroad, may not be available to them if they didn't have resources. So this is from a leadership conference that our students went to in Los Angeles. It's a transformative leadership conference, and it's elite. Only the best leaders across the country go there, and our leaders stand out in that experience. And it's only possible because of donors. So donations, the monetary donations make a huge difference. So there's ways to give whatever you feel is best for you. I just want to say 2 more things, and I apologize, I've run a little long. Apologize, Reverend G, apologize. But 2 more things. Our students are not to be pitied. They are resilient and strong, and they don't need leftovers. They don't need, just for you to be there and to say, oh, these poor kids. Something you get at first, oh, these poor kids. These kids have incredible strength and resilience, and they've overcome so much that they face the world with a sense of purpose and values that we can only aspire to. Secondly, we build into our program a sense of joy, an aspiration to joy. They call me in the office Mr. Bubbles, because I always have bubbles in my office. I did it because some of our students have children, and that's my only gift with children is blowing bubbles. But our students tend to love it too. And so this year we gave all our incoming students a bottle of bubbles with the picture of their whole cohort with it, the picture you saw on the first slide. Because joy is something that we all need, and joy is it's not just about plodding forward. Joy is something that's important to all of our lives. So I want to end it, and thank you for providing us an opportunity to speak here, to give you a little information about our program, and to provide an opportunity for you to support our students as they move through their careers in college. Thanks again.